But my first question for you in the song Human, which I'm assuming is going to be on the project, correct?
It is, yeah.
So in Human, you challenge the idea that we're fundamentally different from one another. What experience in your life most convinced you that the distance between people is often smaller than we believe?
Well, it was an experience that led to that song being written, actually. I was living out of my Honda Pilot. I was calling it van life, but it was really Honda Pilot life.
Okay.
And
Van life sounds good. That's like what it,
yeah, sounds better. So I was traveling all over the country, and I ended up in Colorado, and I ended up hosting this like dual retreat / music video. It was a cool experience. It was actually for the Body and Soul project that we talked about last time. And after that, it ended up being a COVID spreader because someone had come to the retreat with COVID-19. And so I ended up getting COVID, and I was super sick, and I was like, I need to not be living in my car right now. So one of my girlfriends from the retreat, she invited me to stay with her.
Okay.
And that was great because she also had COVID from the same retreat. So we were like, okay, we got this illness at the same time. We can quarantine together and like kind of take care of each other, eat soup, whatever. And her landlord was like, you can't have this person with you. Like, you cannot have this person staying in your apartment. She has COVID-19. And my friend was like, I have COVID-19. Like, what? And there's this whole thing, and she like fought really hard for the landlord to let me stay there, and ended up winning. But you asked me like, what challenges the notion that we're not the same? It was a really literal interpretation, actually, in that moment that birthed that song, because in that moment we were experiencing the exact same thing. We were experiencing the same thing. We were in the same situation. We needed support. We needed the same kind of support from one another. And even with that, this person who had power over my friend, you know, her landlord, was like, no. Your friend is not, like, it's not the same situation. She needs to go. She's gonna be contagious. You know, the whole apartment complex or whatever is gonna get sick. And it was just really weird. So the point of that song was actually to just, say, no, we can like support each other. We're all going through something. And in that case, it was literally the same thing. I hope that answers your question.
It does. It does. There's so much I want to pick in more, but I know we don't have that much time. So, the song makes room for people to be flawed, wrong, and still worthy of love.
Yeah, but because like I was feeling, it was like one of my lowest points of that entire year. It was also my birthday. This is my birthday, 2022, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like I felt that I deserved access to like comfort, even though there was something wrong with me. Like, literally, I was sick.
Yeah. I mean, you still do get access to comfort, absolutely. That actually ties right into the next question I was getting into. What taught you that a person's mistakes don't always define who they are? I mean, it sort of ties into what you said.
Yeah.
Obviously, getting COVID in them it kind of just happens, you know what I mean? But it's like, I'm sick as fuck.
Yeah.
And I'm being contagious and problematic with anxiety, but I still deserve comfort, I still deserve care. You know what I mean? And just kind of flipping the coin, what taught you that a person's mistakes don't always define who they are? And when I ask that, I really wanna highlight that and really land your thinking in a more extreme sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like the worst acts that mankind can place on one another. Like what taught you that those mistakes don't define who they are, if you believe that? Like, do you believe that humanity and monstrosity live separate from one another, or are they in fact one and the same? Not one and the same, but you know what I mean.
And I don't know if I know the answer to that, but I know that, like, for me personally, I have to believe that mistakes don't always define who you are, because on a personal level, like, I've made so many mistakes. And so if I am to keep creating, and if I am to keep creating art and doing, the thing, really the only thing that brings me enough joy to continue on in this hellscape of a world, like, I have to be able to forgive those mistakes. Now, like, I do think there's a line, like, I've made a lot of mistakes that have hurt people, and I've made mistakes that have hurt myself, but I'm not like a convicted sexual predator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where that line is. And
I think that's where that line crosses.
Well, I think there's a lot of lines, and there's infinite lines, actually. But it's like, so I can't speak to that scale of mistake. I can only speak to my own personal experiences, which is like, with substance abuse and with just like being a shitty friend, which I believe, like, if I am to continue on, I need to be able to move past that and not deal entirely with the shame of it. Like, deal with it, face it, but like move through it. So like, for humanity as a whole, I don't know. I mean, I think that there's a lot of healing that needs to happen, but a lot of the healing is like, some mistakes can't be undone and can't be forgiven by humanity, but could be forgiven by the individual. And like, you need to forgive yourself so that you don't make those mistakes again.